Hello everyone, welcome to this week's watercolour lesson. This time we're going to practice brush control, wet against dry and merging washes. And we're going to do that with this fabulous Echeveria as our subject. You can see it's got pink edges to each of the leaves, and this is where the brush control comes in. We're going to leave a little gap all the way around while we flood the leaf with those gorgeous colours. That's why I love this so much, because each leaf is like a little mini watercolour in itself, made up of gorgeous merged washes of colour. But first we need to draw it. Right, you can see here that I've done the drawing for you. Nice heavy lines, so it's very easy to trace. And basically what you need to do is scribble on the back here. So get yourself a nice soft pencil. This one is a 7B, and really you can see through quite easily. And what you want to do is just scribble on the back of all the lines that you can see here, all the way through. I've done one already. See this? So there's scribble all over, and then what you need to do, if I can just move that, is put it down on your piece of paper wherever you might want to do it. Actually, don't do that, because if you rub your hands along it, you'll transfer it. So you want to be quite careful with it. Maybe stick it down in the corners, and then you want quite a hard pencil, or even a blind stylus would work quite well. And you want to just go across all of these lines and press it through, and you can see that the whole design will transfer. Okay, and you can see I've done the whole thing here in my favourite cotton paper, and there's the picture. Can you see it well enough? It's very light there. You don't want extremely heavy lines. Can you see that? And in actual fact, I'm going to possibly rub that out, because we're using these lovely pink colours, so we don't want any of these lines to be too heavy. But then I'm thinking a little bit of line there will help me. I can see where that's going there. Maybe rub that off a little bit, and a little bit here, so it's not too heavy. And of course you can, as you're painting, you can refer back to the original picture as well. Now what we're going to do, if we have a look at the original again, we've got these lovely pink edges, so that's what we want to do first. We're going to put a wash of just clear water on, and then just drop in the pink, slightly more yellowy around here, a little bit of yellow around here, just to sort of merge wash, and then we're going to start working on that. So if we wet the paper first, alrighty ho, and make sure it's not too wet. You just want a slight gloss on it, and I'm using permanent rose. This permanent rose is actually really strong, so be quite careful with it. If you've got it in one well of your palette, make another mix in a separate well, so you know it's not too strong. And referring to this, I'm going to just put some of the colours on, maybe a little bit lighter here. So you've got this, the edge of each of this leaf has this glow of pink. It's really quite, here you can see it's really quite strong, so I'll use it a little bit stronger at, I think maybe at this point, and a little bit stronger around here. There seems to be slightly less so at the actual point, at the very tip. They're sort of heart-shaped.
Right,
I've been doing some playing around with my paints to try and find some colours that might work, and really you can go for it. You don't have to keep to the photograph at all and really mix and match as much as you like, but what you should be doing is trying to find a limited palette so the colours are connected. I've been through my whole box of tricks here and I've got so many different variants that some of them work better than others, but quinacridone rose and cobalt blue, vermilion with Windsor blue, vermilion with French ultra with alizarin, rose madder and viridian, quinacridone rose with French ultramarine, Windsor blue, red shade with quinacridone magenta, permanent rose with cobalt blue. So many different variants you could try, but I've decided on these ones. I've gone for permanent rose, ultramarine, cadmium yellow as the red, blue and yellow, and as an extra I put in viridian because it's that very cool blue that can be really quite useful. As a colour in its own right, it's actually quite ugly, I don't like it much, but it's really good for mixing and making into quite interesting colours, and it also makes some good blacks. You can see here I've got viridian with the ultramarine blue, and if you put a little bit of red in, it will make a sort of very dark colour that accounts for the dark that you might want here. Also bear in mind the saturation of the colours. So when we talk about permanent rose, this is permanent rose, but then so is this. You've got the saturated version and then you've got the dilute version. And the same with viridian, very dark and very strong, but you can make a very soft, watery version. So it really depends on what sort of mood you want to achieve. Now, when we're talking about the edges, you remember I said earlier on that we want to have these lovely pink edges round the edge of each leaf here, and each leaf itself is going to be a watercolour in its own right. What we want to do is leave that clear. We've put some pink down already, but you might be tempted to use some form of masking, and some people do like their masking fluid. I actually find it really quite harsh. I'm not too keen on it. So we're going to have a go at doing what we call water masking. So basically we're going to make a shape. I'll try on this one here just to show you. Make a shape, leaving that edge all the way around of pink that we put on as a wash earlier. So if we wet the area, and then we'll make this a bright pink one so you can see what's going on, we can just drop that colour in there and it'll just stop at the edge that you've made. Can you see that? Ultimately you'll go back later and darken it at the bottom. But there's your little edge, and within that little watercolour painting that you've made in that leaf, you can drop other colours in and it won't break the edge. It won't run out because it won't run into the dry area. Yeah, good fun, eh? Let's get on with the main painting then. Right, we're all taped up and ready to go, and I don't think I'll start right in the middle. I think I'll start about here. So let's have a go. We'll wet this one up. Depending on what colour you're going to use, I'm going to go right to the edge there. I'm going to go right to the pencil line, because if you look at this, just about here, I'm going to make the light edge on this particular leaf. So I'm going to go right to the edge here. But you've got plenty of time, so you can do each one separately. And I'll drop in the blue here.